Hi, it's Vishali. I'm back at Cobham where I've been to Antonio Conte's press conference ahead of Chelsea's game with Manchester City. So I'll be rounding up the key points from that press conference. Let's start off with team news. Now, Conte hinted that Hazard is set to start against City. Now, he was handed just his second start of the season against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League on Wednesday, and Hazard shone, as I mentioned in my last video blog. You know, he set up Morata for his goal, the equaliser. And now that he is 100% fit, Conte was asked whether or not he would risk starting Hazard, for the second time in a space of a few days. And all Conte would say is that, if he's fit enough to play against Atletico, he's fit enough to play against City. So I think you'll see Hazard start that big game at Stamford Bridge on Saturday evening. However, David Luiz, of course, is suspended. He's serving the third game of his 3-match ban for the red card that he got against Arsenal. Danny Drinkwater remains out with a calf injury. And one other piece of interesting news in terms of the team news was whether or not Alvaro Morata has suffered an injury, because he was seen appearing to limp through the mix zone after the game against Atletico. But Conte said he doesn't have an injury, so Morata is set to start against City. Of course, Morata has got 7 goals in all competitions this season, 6 in the Premier League, so that's going to be a huge boost for Chelsea. One piece of team news for the visitors is that Sergio Aguero will not play in that game. Now, Aguero was involved in a car accident on Thursday evening in Amsterdam on his day off. He was in a taxi which collided with a pillar, and today Guardiola confirmed that Aguero won't be playing in the game against Chelsea. They suspect he's broken a rib. That hasn't been confirmed yet, but he will undergo tests today in Manchester. But that is going to be a huge blow for Man City, because he has also scored 6 Premier League goals. He's got 3 assists. He sits top of the scoring chart, so that's a huge blow. They also do not have Benjamin Mendy, who has suffered anterior knee ligament injury. So that's a huge blow for City. Now, Conte was also asked about Guardiola and going up against a team managed by Guardiola. And Conte, he praised Guardiola. He said he is the best manager there is, and he expects a tough game at Stamford Bridge. And one interesting thing I thought was Conte emphasising that Chelsea have only had 1 full day to prepare for this game, because of course City played in the Champions League on Tuesday. They played at home to Shakhtar Donetsk and they beat them 2-0. While Chelsea had to travel to Madrid and play Atletico on Wednesday, a day later. Now, they only got back from Madrid about 4 AM in the morning, and they were back at training a couple of hours later, so they've only really trained today. And Conte was quick to emphasise that point, but he did say that his team are full of confidence after that last gasp win over Atletico, and I think you're going to see a really good clash on Saturday. He also was asked about Timi Bakayoko, who's formed quite a partnership with N'Golo Kante in the middle of the park for Chelsea, and Conte, he was full of praise for Bakayoko. He said he's showing just why Chelsea wanted to sign him in the summer, but he did say that there are still negative aspects of Bakayoko's game that he shows on occasions. But he said what they're trying to do at the moment is coach those out of his game. But he did say he's coming along, he's progressing really nicely since signing for Chelsea in the summer. The final point from Conte's press conference was Ancelotti. Now, of course, Ancelotti was sacked by Bayern Munich yesterday, and Conte said it was a pity that Ancelotti, someone who is his good friend, was sacked. And then he was asked whether or not he felt the Bayern players had disrespected Ancelotti. And all Conte would say that when Bayern played Chelsea in Singapore in pre-season, the game that Bayern won 3-2, he spoke to Ancelotti, and he said that Ancelotti had been happy to work with that group of players at that time. But yeah, I mean, it was an interesting kind of issue that Conte was talking about. Obviously, they're friends, so he did say it was a pity, and you could see that in his face. Now, I'll be back after the Chelsea game with Man City on Saturday to bring you a post-match analysis of that huge Premier League game at Stamford Bridge.